Hey guys, what's up? Yes, it is TGIF. Happy TGIF and this beginning of Memorial Day weekend 2020, which is an unusual Memorial Day weekend, seeing as though with everything kind of out of whack. Not a lot of people knew it was coming up as quickly as it did. Sorry, my finger hit the earpiece there. My apologies. But yeah, welcome to this live TGIF topics on my mind for today, the 22nd of May, 2020. It is about 6:09 a.m. in the morning, which is why I'm doing this. But wanted to come on here and talk about a few topics. Now, first of all, I am going to let you know that after today and after this upcoming week, I will be having a week off basically. So I will be here as much as I can, basically from May 30th to about June 8th at the latest, because of the fact that I have requested that time off to kind of get my facilities together. It's been, one of those situations to where, you just want to take a break. You want to get your mind intact. You kind of want to take a breather, you know, and that's what I plan to do. Um, in the first week of June, the last on the last weekend of May into the first 5 days and first weekend of June, I plan to do that as best I can. Not saying it'll go according to plan, but excuse me, just waking up. Don't worry, I don't have it, in case you guys are wondering. But yeah, just just getting. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was going to say there. That's the thing about doing this live. You got to figure out what you're going to say. Basically, that's pretty much what the plan is right now. Like what I'm doing right now, you can expect possibly during that week, maybe a bit later on. Because again, I won't have to work on from the last weekend of May to the first weekend of June. I won't have to work, so I will have plenty of time to to do a lot of things, to do these kind of videos. But anyway, uh, but anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's early. This is what happens when you do stuff early. But anyway, I wanted to come on here and do a topics on my mind video for this. Of course, this Memorial Day weekend, which starts today, TGIF wise. Right, weird. Trying to post this onto one of the Facebook group pages, and I guess something went wrong or something. That's weird. Facebook must be acting up right now. Yeah, I'm on there now. I'm thinking, what's going on? I'm on there twice, but anyway. Um. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about a few topics that come to mind real quickly, kind of uncut and on the fly, uncensored, if you will. But these are 6 topics that I figured I'd talk about. And again, I'm doing this because it's the only time where I have right now until maybe late tonight if I'm in the mood, if I'm not tired after today, because this is the Friday that starts Memorial Day weekend. So it's going to be like, depending on how people are going to celebrate it, it's going to be a crazy day, possibly. Okay, so anyway, let's get on to the topics to talk about as we begin this Memorial Day weekend. The 6 topics I want to talk about are: 1, the Netflix She-Ra series and the predicted outcome everyone, fans and non-fans, saw coming. Yeah, the She-Ra series, the Netflix / DreamWorks series of She-Ra, or adaptation of She-Ra, interpretation, whatever you want to call it, came to an end recently, basically about a few weeks ago. Netflix aired released the final season, the fifth and final season, and pretty much the outcome that a lot of people predicted was going to happen occurred, and we will talk about that. The second topic is moving up the job ladder faster than you should, especially when you haven't been there that long. Corporate ladder, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it's a topic that it's kind of close to me. It hits close to me and anybody else that's working. And let's just say you'll probably have a good understanding of what I mean. The third topic that I want to talk about after that is reports suggesting folks enjoyed the comfort of their own home to view new movies than theaters. Did the VOD, video on demand, overdo its intended job? We'll talk about that. Number 4, will Trump, our president, Donald Trump, step in to quicken state reopenings? There is word going around. In fact, he even mentioned something like that. I'll talk about that. Number 5, the fifth thing I want to talk about is what's the next continuity? DCAMU, which is a different continuity for the DC animated movies. We have the DCAU, which is the DC Comics animated universe. And we have the DCAMU, which is basically like their Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's all one continuity based on one timeline. So we'll talk about what's next in store for that. And finally, because I saw this recently on Cinemassacre's YouTube channel, basically James Rolfe, aka the Angry Video Game Nerd, along with several of his colleagues, back in October, took a trip to Bend, Oregon, where the last blockbuster is known to be, and that brought up some good question. And that brought up a question in my mind that I wanna ask. I'll kind of discuss here, if you will. And that was my dog in the background. She's just waking up a little bit. She's fine. But like I said, it's a discussion I want to talk about is, will Blockbuster Video ever make a comeback in some manner? So it's something else, and that's basically going to be the final topic I want to talk about as we start this TGIF Friday, Memorial Day weekend, if you will. As I adjust the mic, let's get into talking about some topics. And let's tackle the first one that I just mentioned as we get this up and going. The first one, of course, being the Netflix She-Ra series and the predicted outcome everyone, fans and non-fans, saw coming. Now, like I said, when I was talking about what topics we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, and a lot of people from Clownfish TV to various others have talked about this, the Netflix / DreamWorks interpretation adaptation created by Lauren Stevenson, which was She-Ra and the Princesses, not Princess, but Princesses of Power, came to an end recently with the premiere of the 5th and final season on Netflix. And let's just say the outcome, which a lot of people, even those that didn't like the series, along with those that did, saw coming. Now, if you follow the series, and the only way I followed it is I watched various videos and discussions by Clownfish TV and many others. And pretty much they knew this was coming. Neon and Geeky Sparkles, who uh, co-host that channel and the videos, kind of collab on the videos at times, mostly when it comes to this topic. They saw it coming. But basically, the outcome that everyone, like I said, that fans and non-fans saw coming was pretty much set in stone from the very beginning. And it was the only logical outcome if you think about it. Whether you, like I said, whether you liked the show or you didn't, but it was the most logical outcome to happen. And that was She-Ra, aka Adora, and Catra finally revealing the love for each other. And we're not just talking love, BFF. No, we're talking LGBTQ love, lesbian love between the two. And this pretty much, I guess, answered the question that a lot of people, like I said, were asking and probably knew the answer to as to why Catra was the way she was, why she was so angry about Adora jumping ship, being this, being that. It's because during their close friendship in the Horde, she had developed feelings for Adora that went beyond friendship, and that was pretty much revealed here, along with Adora pretty much realizing the same thing, that the reason she was so angry with Catra still remaining on the side of evil with the Horde is because she felt the same way. So basically the revelation, like I said, that everybody pretty much knew was going to be revealed, happened. It did occur. And if you don't think I'm telling the truth, go and watch various YouTube videos talking about the She-Ra final season, and you will see that one of the thumbnails they use, or one of the clips they use in the discussion videos, is Catra and Adora kissing. I mean, they just went all out with this. Now, here's the thing. I know that we all live in an era right now, in a time where this kind of stuff is probably expected in any kind of form of television media, whether it's live action, what's mostly seen, or animation, what started to started to trickle in not that long ago, but with shows where you would probably think it would at least start to build a foundation. Now, all of a sudden, it's starting to trickle into other shows that are aimed at all ages. I mean, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and even Equestria Girls pretty much are tackling the issue in their own kind of way. If you don't believe me there, take a look at the final season of Friendship is Magic. We get introduced officially on screen to Scootaloo's LGBTQ lesbian aunts. We get the official canonization of Lyra and Bonbon, even into marriage. And we get the strong indication and implication of Applejack and Rainbow Dash getting together in the future, or someone going into the future that we see in the final episode, The Last Problem. And then when you take a look at Equestria Girls, that's kind of chock full of it too, from a gay couple between two high school boys that are kind of like the male equivalent of Lyra and Bonbon, to the human version, Equestria Girl version of Lyra and Bonbon, to even, believe it or not, members of the Humane Seven, that being Rarity and Applejack. Yeah, so you got all those LGBTQ references and acknowledgments and hints and Easter eggs thrown out in those series. Heck, you even have freaking Arthur that went the route and had its episode taken off the air in some local PBS channels and stuff across the nation. And now here with She-Ra, pretty much what a lot of people felt was going to be the outcome at the end of the series was indeed that very outcome, was the very reason why Catra was upset with Adora and why Adora was upset with Catra and why they had chosen the sides they did instead of being with each other. It wasn't because, it put a strain, if not ended the friendship. It's because they were in love with each other. They had feelings that went beyond friendship, and it got revealed in the finale of the series. Now, what's interesting about this is if you listen to what Clownfish TV, what Neon and Geeky Sparkles has to say on the subject, basically they give their own opinion, whether you agree with it or you don't. And one of the things that they talked about was an article based on talking about She-Ra. It was an interview that Polygon, I think that's who did it. I think that's what the one, yeah, it was an interview that Polygon, an online magazine or entertainment site, did with Laura Stevenson, who was the person behind the new She-Ra series. And basically what they felt and suspected from the beginning or from the outset, or at least further into the series longevity, was pretty much proven fact in their eyes when they read the interview that Lauren Stevenson gave Polygon, and that is Laura Stevenson basically pictured herself in the role of She-Ra. Basically, from what they saw and read, Laura Stevenson was She-Ra. That Laura Stevenson placed herself in the role of She-Ra, and that everything we saw in this, with Adora, She-Ra going through the moments and all that, that was Laura Stevenson. She had pictured herself in that role, or at least something like that. And that didn't sit too well with Geeky Sparkles. That didn't sit too well with Neon, because it's like, it's one thing to want to place yourself in the world of fiction with your own kind of fanfiction story, original or based on another property. It's one thing to do that and put the spotlight on you, but it's another to do it with a well-renowned IP like She-Ra, which is part of the Masters of the Universe line, because you're utilizing and using characters that people already know about, and you're putting them into a situation that is not very familiar with them. And thus, on top of that, you're putting yourself in the role of the title character or something like that. You have to check out Clownfish's TV's discussion on that, as well as look up the Polygon interview that Lauren Stevenson did. But that's basically what they got out of it. And again, Neon and Geeky Sparkles, they were not happy. Again, they have a right to their opinion, because pretty much they feel all Lauren Stevenson did was take this $1,000,000 opportunity that was handed to her by DreamWorks and Netflix, and decided to basically take this well-renowned IP, and instead of trying to stay true to what it was, make it into her own personal fan fiction where she was in the role of the title character. Or again, like I've been saying, it's something along those lines. But yeah, they weren't too thrilled, and I'm sure others weren't too thrilled about it either. But this would explain why, you had such a heavy focus on LGBTQ, from Scorpana and Trapta to of course Adora / She-Ra and Catra. It's because Lauren Stevenson, in case you guys don't know, is an LGBTQ individual herself. She's a lesbian. So, which is nothing wrong with that. But anyway, that's why this had a heavy LGBTQ feel to it, and why the outcome was pretty much predicted almost from the start. So, yeah, yeah. But overall, the series, again, here's the thing: I've not seen the series. I hear it's, from what I understand, I hear it's okay. It's all right, depending on how you view it. But again, everybody has their own difference of opinion. Like I said, you look at Clownfish TV, you listen to what Geeky Sparkle says when she talks about it. She is like not happy. Geeky Sparkles, I think, grew up on She-Ra. I believe she did. But she is not too thrilled about this interpretation because, as I mentioned, what they read in that interview that Lawrence Stevenson did, basically to them, Lawrence Stevenson's basically admitting, hey, I envisioned myself in the role of She-Ra this whole time. Basically to them, they feel like, and they've always had this belief and opinion of Lawrence Stevenson just utilized millions of dollars handed to her to produce a new version of She-Ra, but all she did was create a fan fiction version of She-Ra. She just basically took probably an original fan fiction she was working on for fanfiction.net or adultfanfiction.org or whatever, and decided, hey, I got this great story. I'm gonna change up the characters into She-Ra characters and put it in She-Ra. So that's basically how they view it. Now, could they be wrong about that? Absolutely. But they've worked in the business. They know the ins and outs. They kind of have a good idea about what's staying true to what the franchise was originally, to what is basically someone utilizing an existing IP, to create a fan fiction-y world that they probably already wrote down as an original idea. Again, it's their own opinion, and I'm sure they're not the only ones that are alone in that. But yeah, the Netflix series, the Netflix/DreamWorks adaptation, interpretation of She-Ra came to an end, and the predicted outcome that everyone, fans and non-fans, saw coming did indeed happen, and that is Catra and Adora/She-Ra confessing the love for each other, kissing full on the lips on screen, and basically pretty much cementing the fact that the main romance that we knew was coming was indeed an LGBTQ one. And again, nothing wrong with that, but it's pretty much that outcome was seen a whole mile away, like 10 miles away, if you know what I mean. So anyway, getting on to the next topic, and let me know what you guys think about each topic as I talk about it in the live chat or in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are individually on each topic, and how you feel about them in your own opinion, and what I have to say about them in the live chat or in the comments below later on. All right, so the next topic I'm going to talk about here, the next topic is, like I said, something kind of close to me and other people that are in the same position that I'm in, and that is moving up the job ladder faster than you should, especially when you haven't been there that long. Yeah, moving up the job ladder faster than you should, especially when you haven't been there that long. Now, what I'm getting at is this, and I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. It's just my opinion, just my own personal opinion. But, and I think I've talked about this before, but when you've been there as long as I have, when you've been at your job for as long as I have, you expect that if any opportunity to move up the corporate ladder, if you will, the job ladder, if there's any opportunity that comes forward to do so, you would believe that it would come first to those that have been there the longest. Now, I've been at my job 6.5 years. There have been people that have been at their jobs in other places for just as long. There are people that have been at these kind of jobs for decades. And throughout all that time, they have yet to see any opportunity come their way, but yet they see these other people that haven't been there as long as they have suddenly getting an opportunity to shoot up the ladder out of nowhere. Now, I know people are going to say, well, how do you know this to be true? Here's the thing. Again, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. But the thing is, with what's going on right now, everybody's schedules are changing. Those that are in charge or placed in charge as managers, front end, whatever you want to call them, usually when they go to the lunch, whether it's a half hour or an hour lunch, the next front end manager or manager of any kind that comes in takes their place. Recently, that's not been the case, because recently what's been going on is, because some of the managers have been out because of what's going on, because they need a mental break, they need a little bit of leave of absence or whatever, or because of what's going on with this whole virus, and they kind of want to be around family just to make sure that family's safe and protected, and they want to kind of keep themselves safe, as well as at the same time take a bit of a mental break, like I'm going to do in the next week or two. Usually that kind of puts the schedule into flux or influx, kind of throws it off course, to the point that the front end manager can only go so long before they hit a certain hour, and then they have to clock out to go to lunch. So basically what that forces them to do is basically hand over the walkie. Now, this is, of course, my theater remote, but anyway, my home theater remote, but basically hand over the walkie and hand over the clipboard. This is just my tripod thing for my GoPro, but hand over the clipboard, if you will, with the schedule on it, with the schedule for that day, the front end schedule, to an individual that hasn't even been there that long. And you wonder what's going on here. And you start thinking to yourself, okay, why is this individual getting an opportunity over people like myself or anybody else that's been there a little bit longer? Heck, to me, you don't even have to be there as long as I have. You could be there at least maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, and you should get the opportunity first, right? But instead, you're seeing somebody that's been there maybe 5 months, 6 months ahead, less than you, getting the opportunity. You're wondering what's going on. Now, usually, when it comes to front end management, from what I understand, you're supposed to take a test. It's a 30-minute to 44. Basically, it's a 30-minute to 45-minute test, and that if you pass the test, you're pretty much in the clear to become a front end manager. All you have to do is shadow the established front end managers, get an idea of what has to go on, probably get new codes to log in with, stuff like that, and you're ready to go. You're ready to go. That's how I was trained. And I'm sure that's how it is for a lot of jobs that have similar positions, that you have to take a certain test. I, for one, have not seen the individuals that are given this opportunity. I have not once seen or heard them taking that test. Now, I understand that with what's going on, that sometimes, you're going to get thrown into the fire without, creating it, or without testing yourself in it. You're going to get, thrown right into the chaos because there's not enough time to do the test or do this or do that. I get that. You know, I get that. But the thing is, when you're somebody that obviously seems to maybe have experience behind the scenes. Okay, here's what I mean. Let's say you're okay, how do I put this? What I'm trying to get at is this. With what's going on, there's a lot of retail jobs out there that are probably going through something similar. And there's a lot of people that have been at these retail jobs, these are as front end cashiers, salespeople, department, whatever, that are seeing these people that have not been there that long getting more opportunities than them. And they're wondering what's going on. Did this person take the test that's required to get these opportunities? Or does this person have experience, beforehand? Like, have they been managers before elsewhere? Or is it because they're close friends with somebody that is a manager or has some kind of influence at the store or at the company, and pretty much that's why they're getting this opportunity? I mean, I do know that we do have one in. Here's why I say this. Today we have one front end manager that's leaving. I don't know if she's moving on to another job. I don't know if she's retiring. I don't know what's going on. All I know is she's gonna be gone after today. And she's a great manager. She's a great front end manager. She used to work for one of the stores in another city, not that far from here. But what I noticed yesterday is right before I left, she had basically taken one of the individuals, one of the associates that have not been there as long as I have or anybody else has, and basically give them their give them the controller, the iPad, give them the board with the schedule where they go take a lunch or go take a break. And not even before this person left to take their lunch or break, the individual that they had brought over to do this was already saying, oh, okay, was already telling people, okay, go do this, oh, go stand in for that person, go do that, go do this. And it's like, what is going on? And myself and several others during breaks would talk about this, and we're wondering, why is this happening? And one example that was given by somebody was perhaps she's trying to become a manager or a front end manager, but she doesn't really want. But the one thing they brought up was she doesn't really want to be in the front that much. And because what I've noticed and others have noticed is when this individual gets this opportunity given to them, they're not always around. What they do is they walk off. And what gets on me is if this person, and here's the thing, it's the choice of the front end managers. It's the choice of the assistant managers. If they feel this person can handle the job, fine, more power to them. But if this person is just going to walk off, and all of a sudden you have customers saying, hey, I want to talk to a manager, or you need that front end manager to unlock something for you because you can't have somebody else do it. Because usually if we need like a suspension and all that, we help each other. We put in our old codes, that's fine. And that works. But if there's other things that go beyond that need a manager's code, what I've noticed is this individual could be gone. I'm thinking, where did they go? So again, what worries myself and others around is if this individual gets this opportunity, they need to straighten themselves out. They need to focus on being upfront and being a front end manager. Because what I can sense is even if they become a front end manager, they're not going to want to stay there long. They're going to want to go elsewhere. And what I've noticed basically is they will want to go and join the friend who has a little bit of influence that's probably allowing them to get this opportunity in the department that they're running. And their friend basically is running online pickup or online delivery. That's what they're running. They're running that area, and they want to go join them. So obviously, what I'm seeing, in my opinion, and others are probably seeing, is this individual, if this is what's happening, is not going to, even if they get this shot to be front end, they're not going to stay long. They're going to want to go into other areas because they want to be with a friend. And another thing we worry about is they won't take this job seriously because, again, like I said, what if we need them to come up and put in the code for a specific reason that that regular cashiers or associates can't do, and only they can? What if she's on the other side of the store because she decides she wants to walk off and go talk to somebody and and feels like, hey, it's nothing wrong, nothing busy, whatever. What if that happens? Doesn't look good for them. And again, if the assistant managers and front end managers feel like, hey, this person can handle it, that's fine. But I've always had this thought in my mind. And again, these are just my opinions. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. But this is just my opinion. My opinion is this. We have our top front end manager who is this close to assistant. She's kind of like how do I put it? She's a front end manager slash assistant AS. She's a front end manager slash assistant and training manager. AIT manager. She's a front end slash AIT manager. And I've always had this opinion in my mind that if she returns, possibly today or next week, and she notices what's going on, whether she knows about it or she doesn't. I've worked with this woman for majority of the time I've been there. We've both been at this company or at this store for a long time, for 6.5 years. And if I know her as well as I do, and she sees this potential new front end manager that's not been there as long as she has or as I have or anybody else has, walking off when she needs to be up front trying to do her own thing, she's not going to tolerate it. She's not going to tolerate it. She's going to pull her aside and say, look, if you're going to do this, you need to be up here. So I've just had this opinion that once this woman comes back and starts, really leading the charge once again and getting everybody in tune with each other, that this potential associate that has not been there as long as myself or anybody else, she's not going to be running things much longer or believing she can. She's not going to be, I'll put it this way, she's not going to be turned to take over, basically. She's not. And again, I'm not saying this to get her in trouble because honestly, I could be wrong, others could be wrong, and she could turn out great. I think what needs to be done first, though, is when the opportunity arises, if they are serious about her taking that next step, she needs to take the test. She needs to take the test that's required to go to that next level. Because if she hasn't taken it already, then she needs to take it. Because in the eyes of myself and others, it doesn't make her look good. Because there have been various moments where, like I said, she'll walk off and do other jobs or just walk off around. And look, I'm not perfect either. I've walked around too in the store, but I've done it to help out people, or it's been slow. Look, it's been slow, and I've been called to the front again to remain on the register. So I'm not perfect, okay? I'm not perfect in that. But what she does is she finds other jobs to do that are for other departments, and then she stays in those areas for most of the time or whenever, or she just walks around the store and does whatever. We don't know. But again, if she's serious, dead serious about doing this, she needs to be focused. She needs to take the test. If the managers in charge are dead serious about her doing this, she needs to take the test. Because I know if anything, because I'm telling you this right now, for the past several years, I've been waiting and waiting for an opportunity just to go to the back, get on those computers, and take that test to become a front end person, be a front end manager myself. I've been waiting years to do that, opportunities to do that. I've been waiting for those opportunities. You know why? Because I've been there long enough. Heck, I have assistant managers that are new to the store themselves that have years of experience in management asking me about how things are done. They don't go to this girl. Well, they do, but they don't go to her as much. They go to people like me. So, anyway, though, it's just it's just one of those situations to where it's like I can understand maybe the reasoning why they're doing it, but I always get this eerie feeling in my stomach, this knot in my stomach, that unless she takes the test, the decision they have in store, the decision they want to make, or the direction they want to go with possibly giving this girl this opportunity, it's going to blow up in the face. And I say that with all due respect. I say that with all due respect, and not to get anybody in trouble, but it's going to blow up in the face. Because she's either not going to be around when you need her, or two, and it's the honest truth, two, she's not going to she'll take the job seriously, but she'll not want to remain there that long. It's like, she or they, whatever you want to call it, however you want to look at it, will want to basically move on to another area. And that's it. They'll just want to use the front end as a stepping stone. But again, it's just my opinion, not trying to get anybody in trouble. But I think if you want to have this person take that next step, they need to take what's required to make that next step official. And by doing so, show whether or not they are serious in taking this job opportunity that they'll be given very, very seriously. So anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much all I could say on that. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below in the live chat. Let me know if you've ever dealt with stuff like that in your jobs, if you've ever heard of stories like that, seen things like that. Let me know down below or in the live chat. All right. So the number 3 topic we're going to talk about here as we move on is reports have been coming out suggesting folks enjoyed the comfort of their own home to view new movies than theaters did video on demand, VOD, overdo its intended job. And what I mean by that is this. We all know that Trolls World Tour was put onto VOD. Simultaneously, the same day it went into theaters and drive-ins, or whichever ones they could. We know that recently, as of last week, Scoob, a week ago today, that Scoob came out onto VOD when it was originally intended to be in theaters that same day. We know other movies have hit streaming services and video on demand services instead of being on the big screen. And now it seems that the temporary intended job that VOD had with these movies might have outdone itself, because now folks are enjoying the comfort of watching these new films at home. And what's funny is when this report was placed onto Facebook, there were many people that are like, well, yeah, you can't blame them. At being at home, being able to watch something like Trolls World Tour, Scoob, Onward, Sonic, maybe potentially, the new Christopher Nolan movie coming out, or maybe even Wonder Woman 84, to watch it at home in the comfort of your own house, being able to pause it when you want, to get up, get something to eat, get some popcorn, take a shower, whatever, then come back and finish it. It's like, who wouldn't want that instead of being in the theaters? So apparently, apparently people, I guess a poll was taken or something, I don't know, but apparently reports have come in that people enjoy the comfort of their own home in watching these movies than in the theaters where they originally intended to be. So again, did video on demand, VOD, overdo its intended job, its intended temporary job, that is, with these movies, and what's because of what's going on? And honestly, I think it did. I think it really did outdo its job because, you know, here's the thing: when you hear about these movies being made, these big blockbusters, you expect to experience them on the big screen. You know, what's funny is um, John Campa. He likes to talk about a lot of topics himself, and he talks about them thanks to questions submitted by viewers. Like I've submitted a few super chats over, several super chats over time to his channel, and John has mentioned that although you could sit at home, big 40-inch, 50-inch, 72-inch screen, 4K, whatever, and watch, that climactic battle at towards the end of Avengers Endgame and really, just appreciate what you're seeing, it's nothing compared to seeing it in the theaters on the big screen with an audience. I mean, he even suggested to go online to places like YouTube and type in audience reaction endgame portals, Avenger endgame portals. And people have uploaded these in very creative ways. Some people have uploaded them to where they've used the footage after they, I guess, bought the film or whatever, and they've placed an audience reaction audio wise to match up with it, to sync up with it. So, and you could hear everyone's reactions to that moment. So I understand where John's coming from with that. I really do. So you have to think to yourself, if you're someone that works in the movie industry, and especially if you're working on some of these big time blockbuster films that are planned to come out, all of a sudden you're hearing about people saying, like, all of a sudden you're hearing people all of a sudden what I'm trying to say is all of a sudden you're hearing about people wanting to watch these movies when they come out at home. They don't want to go back to the theaters anymore, or because they could just sit in the comfort of their own couch, their own chair like this, take the remote, press play on the video on demand, watch a bit of the movie, and then suddenly if a rumbling comes up, they want to go get some popcorn, they go click, pause it, go get the popcorn, sit back down, with the popcorn, click, and there you go. That's what they want. That's basically what's being reported, that people enjoy the comfort of their own home to view these kind of films over the theaters, even though there are certain moments in these movies that you could only experience, like John Campa says, in theaters with an audience, because you can appreciate it more and it feels more like an experience of what it's more like a life-changing experience at times. And I agree with him on both. I agree with John on that. But I also could see where people are coming from when it's like, yeah, being at home, being able to watch Wonder Woman 84, who wouldn't want that? Um, but to me, I think it's more along the lines of, basically, to me, it's more along the lines of, you could do these polls, you can do these, questionnaires, and ask people what they prefer when it comes to watching the new movies, and you could get these kind of results where people prefer to watch them at home over theaters. But in the end, theaters are still going to win out. Yes, did video on demand, VOD, overdo its intended temporary job when it came to some of these movies originally meant for theaters? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what? In the end, it's not going to matter because theaters are going to win out. Theaters are starting to reopen very slowly as we speak, and you can't tell me that movie studios aren't going to be thrilled with that. They're not going to be happy about the fact of, oh, this AMC or this Regal or this Cinemark have opened up. Time to play some movies in there. You can't tell me they won't be happy about that because they will be. Point is, the point is, like I said, you could poll, you can questionnaire people, and they'll say, yeah, they prefer the comfort of the home. But in reality, they know that even if they want that to happen, even if they want the VOD to become the new kind of standard, they know theaters are still going to win out. They know that it's just an opinion, but in the end, it's about money. Money talks, and when money talks, you know, usually the money, the individual, the subject, or whatever, or the company or the business or whatever, usually when money starts talking, they start walking. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, and my thumb just hit the mic there. I do apologize. So, yeah, even though, sitting in the comfort of your own home and watching these kind of movies is great, we have to remember it's only a temporary deal that's going to be coming to an end very soon. The temporariness is going to be ending very soon. You think Warner Brothers and Disney are going to let their two female-led superhero films coming out later this year to be VOD'd? I don't think so. They've spent too much money and everything to see those movies become a reality that they're not about to allow them to become VOD'd. They're not about to allow that. So, yeah, even though reports are suggesting folks enjoy the comfort of their own home to view these new movies in theaters, and yes, in my opinion, VOD did overdo its intended temporary job. In the end, theaters are still going to win out, and we'll just have to look back at this as a moment in time of, well, it was great while it lasted, but now it's time to get back to business. So that's how I see it. Anyway, on to the next topic. On to the next topic. A little politicalness here. Will President Trump, step in to quicken state reopenings? Okay. Now, I mentioned this yesterday in my little vlog I did, talking about the status of what's going on with the current situation. Well, a couple of days ago, and I mentioned this in the vlog, I think, as well, Trump said during a press conference that if the governors don't quicken the pace to reopen their states, even through the guidelines that they got in motion, that he will step in and do it for them. He and feds, whatever, will step in and do it for them. And honestly, I don't blame Trump if he wants to try to do that. I wouldn't blame him because, well, one, he is the president. And two, if you want to get enough favoritism to be reelected for another term, you're going to do whatever the people want to see you do. And if you have to step in and say, look, if you have to step in, what I'm trying to say is if you have to step in and tell the governor of Michigan, the governor of Oklahoma, the governor of California, the governor of New Jersey, the governor of New York, if you have to come in and tell them, hey, start quickening up those reopenings, or I'm going to do it for you, you should take what he's saying seriously. Don't just take it as a false threat. You should take it seriously because he will step in and do it. He will do it. I mean, remember, he was this close to going absolute authority over all 50 states to get them reopened at an earlier time. But thankfully he changed his mind. Now he's looking at the fact that yes, states are doing this, they're reopening, governors are having states reopen, but not at a pace they should. So honestly, do I see states reopening? Yeah, I do. Do I see them opening probably quicker than they want? Probably. I'm not saying they will. But do I see Trump stepping in? Absolutely, I see him stepping in. Because there are certain governors that are not going to want to heed to what he's suggesting, or are not going to want to quicken the pace any sooner than, Trump wants. I mean, heck, we have the Michigan governor, as many people have mentioned, that doesn't even let people step outside the house. And she's got enough to deal with the whole damn situation, you know, which is a more important deal to focus on than just saying, "Up, you stepped outside your house. You took that one step outside your house. $1,000 fine." No, no. If he feels that the Michigan governor is not going to heed, he'll step in on that state. If he feels the governor of New York's not doing the job that's needed to reopen, he's going to step in on that state. He's going to do whatever it takes to quicken the pace, which is why now all of a sudden you're seeing states like governors, or you're seeing governors of states like California and Texas and Florida and other states out there saying, "Oh, you know what? We've decided to reopen dining. We've decided to we've decided that next month we might bring sports back. We might bring this back. Da, 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 da." All because they're hearing what he's saying and they're like, I don't want to deal with that. I want to, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to basically open it up myself. Or I'm going to open it up, but with guidelines. You know, like I said, as long as as long as it heeds the guidelines. The point is, the point is, Trump has assured that he's going to step in and quicken it a lot. If the governors that have not yet really picked it up, like, okay, 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 this stage is done. Now we go to this next stage, and this is reopened. That's reopened. That's reopened. Okay, everything's reopened now. You know, if they don't start getting a lot faster, because my thing is this: I think what Trump wants is he wants crowds out. He wants people out in crowds. He wants states to get back to normalcy. And he wants it done before the election because he knows he's smart. He sees what's going on. He sees what's going on with the Democrats trying to make sure he doesn't win and all that. He sees that. Even his son sees it. His son even said, look, after November 3rd, this whole thing, almost said it there, but this whole thing is going to be over. It's going to be like it never happened. Because they all see the truth. They see it. They see it. And that's why he wants a lot of states to quicken the pace when it comes to reopening. And if they don't do it, he's going to step in. He's going to step in. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe him, I should say, there's an old saying of try him and see what happens. But do I think he'll step into quicken state reopenings? Absolutely. And I've got a feeling he's going to have to. Because there are certain states, certain governors that are like, I'm not going to reopen. Nope, 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 nope. Trump's going to come in and be like, oh, Governor so and so, you don't want to reopen? Well, guess what? I'm throwing over. I'm gonna over. I'm gonna go over your head. I'm gonna use authority. I'm reopening your state, or something like that. He's gonna find a way. Trust me, he's gonna find a way. And again, if you don't believe what he says, don't believe him when he says something like that. Again, try him. See what happens. Because just when you think he won't do it, he will. He will. Anyway, though, getting on to the next topic. We're done with that right now. And check out my vlog on it if you want to know a little bit more. Beginning on to the next topic here. And that is, what's the next continuity for DC's DCAMU? What's the next continuity DC's DCAMU will tackle? Now, in case you guys don't know, Viant Comics even had to kind of straighten this out. The DCAU is just the is just the DC Comics animated universe. In other words, it's animated movies, but all their own individual stories or adaptations. The DCAMU is all based in one continuity. In this case, since 2003, with the Flashpoint paradox, it's been based in the New 52 universe. Well, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War just came out a couple weeks ago, digitally and physically this past week, which I did buy a copy of. And oh boy, oh boy. This movie, from what I understood and the clips that I saw, was everything it was hyped up to be, promoted to be. But it also did one thing. The final thing we see is like a wave, a white wave, a whiteout occur at the end of the film. This is to significant. This is to what's the word I'm looking for? Signify. Yeah, this is to signify the end of the New 52 and the DCAMU adaptation of it and its continuity for the time being. Now, the people behind this division of the DC animated universes have said, no, we have not seen the end of the DCAMU, the DC animated movies universe, because there's more to come. But the question is, what will it be? Well, we know the next animated film is Superman the Man of Tomorrow, which I think is based in the Rebirth universe. So I think the new continuity we're going to get with the DCAMU is Rebirth. And basically what that's going to be is the soft retcon reboot of the DC universe before the Flashpoint paradox. And everything goes back somewhat to what it was, with a few catches here and there. And obviously that's going to be the new continuity that DC Comics DCAMU will tackle, is the Rebirth one, so we could get an idea basically of where each character is in the new restored / alternate timeline that brings things back to the way they once were before the New 52 deal. And like I said, Superman Man of Tomorrow is the first one. The next one after that's anybody's guess. I mean, obviously, we do know that the Rebirth continuity, if that's the one they're tackling, and most likely they are, if that's anything, if any of the stories, from what I understand, if the stories are anything, I should say, to go by when it comes to the Rebirth, the Rebirth deal, then this possibly could outdo the New 52 continuity. This really could. But yeah, the next continuity, obviously, for DC's DCAMU, which is different from the animated universe, is Rebirth, and it's going to start with Man of Tomorrow. And it will just go from there. Will we get anything, different, like any other unique stories and all that? Hard to say. Will we, get this or that? Again, it's hard to say. But Superman Man of Tomorrow should at least give us an idea of what we're going to expect in what would be the Rebirth continuity, the new, who knows how many animated movies it could be, universe for them to tackle, the new cinematic universe for them to tackle as we begin anew. Because I think Man of Tomorrow is supposed to take place after this, but it's the beginning of the Rebirth era. So it'd be really interesting to see what we get from it and exactly what other movies we'll get after that as well. Again, I think we're going to get one on Batman, obviously. We're going to get one on Wonder Woman. We got to get one on Green Lantern, possibly the Justice League as a whole, Flash. Most importantly, Flash, because we got to see what's going on with him. Apparently, there's a lot more that's going to be happening when it comes to his involvement. So it's it's up in the air, but I think Rebirth is the next one that is the next era, the next continuity, retcon continuity that gets tackled by the DCAMU, the DC Animated Movies Universe, not the DCAU, which is the DC Animated Universe, but the DCAMU, the Cinematic Universe. I think the reboot continuity or retcon is the next one to be tackled, and it looks like it's going to start with Superman, Man of Tomorrow. So going to be really intriguing to see how they do that. All right, so the last one I want to talk about. You see, recently I just watched a video that James Rolfe, aka the AVGN, the Angry Video Game Nerd, did with a few colleagues of his after they had attended the Portland Gaming Expo in Portland, Oregon. They decided to take a road trip to Bend, Oregon, where the last Blockbuster on Earth is located. Yeah, the last Blockbuster video on Earth is located, and and I saw this when they were when they were shooting the video that they uploaded this past week, back in October. I saw a poster that said the last Blockbuster, and it had a website saying thelastblockbustermovie.com. Guess what? That movie comes out in the next few months. So it's going to get a theatrical kind of release temporarily in Bend, Oregon at Tower Theater, if everything's cool to go there. And then obviously it's going to get an on-demand release by Pop Motion Pictures. And it's going to basically tell, obviously, the history of Blockbuster, but it's not just going to tell, but it's going to touch upon the history of Blockbuster Video, but it's also going to talk about how this Blockbuster Video has lasted for as long as it has, because it is, from what they were able to film and show us, James, that is, and his colleagues, is this Blockbuster is just like as you remember any Blockbuster. It's that good looking, it's that great looking. So yeah, they have a documentary coming out in July centered around it. But the question is, will Blockbuster Video ever make a comeback in some manner down the line? I think, honestly, yes, I do. Yeah, I think they will make a comeback. It may not be the way we're hoping, but I think Blockbuster Video, after this documentary comes out, I think it's going to get more noticed again. People are going to talk about it again. And they're going to be like, look, we can't just let Bend, Oregon be the only one that has a Blockbuster. I guarantee you, towns, no matter where you live, are going to start discussing the return of Blockbuster. However they're going to do it, however it's done, they're going to make it happen. But like I said, is it going to come back in the manner that it's used to coming back, that we're all used to it? No. They're going to have to make some readjustments. They're going to have to make it a little different from a modern era. But yeah, I honestly think Blockbuster Video will make a comeback. Again, like I said, it may not be the way we hope, but it'll be in a way that's kind of like a hybrid, in my opinion, of this, of what it was like in the past, nostalgic wise, and what it's done to adapt into more modern times. So it's going to be really intriguing. It's going to be really intriguing to see what happens. I mean, again, it all depends on how receptive this last Blockbuster documentary movie is. But I honestly I think it's going to get very positive reviews, and I wouldn't be surprised that as a result, we end up getting more blockbusters coming back, into existence around the country. So So here's hoping. But I honestly believe Blockbuster Video will make a comeback in some manner, and I think it's all going to be thanks to this documentary movie that we're getting in July. That's what I think. That's what I think. So anyway, though, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this TGIF Memorial Day. This TGIF Live Topics on My Mind for May 22nd, 2020. Have a good and safe Memorial Day, guys. I will probably do a video or so later on during my lunch if I can, as well as I will try to do one later tonight if I'm up in the mood, if I'm not like conked out on the bed here later on. So again, that's pretty much going to do it, guys, for this edition of Topics on My Mind. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for tuning in the live chat. And I am out. God bless. Take care. Stay safe. And have a good day.